Now the lateral compartment of the leg. The boundaries of the lateral compartment of the leg, as you see, this is the left leg. Anteriorly it is bounded by the anterior intermuscular septum. Posteriorly there is posterior intermuscular septum. Medially there is lateral surface of the fibula, and laterally there is the deep fascia of the leg. Now the contents of the lateral compartment of the leg are muscles. Muscles are two: Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis. There is a nerve of the lateral compartment, that is the superficial peroneal nerve. The lateral compartment of leg does not have its own artery. There are small unnamed veins which mostly drain into the small saphenous vein. Now, peroneal retinacula. These are thick bands of deep fascia on the lateral side of ankle which keep the long tendons of the Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis in position. Now there are two peroneal retinacula, superior and inferior. The superior peroneal retinaculum is thickened fibrous band of deep fascia situated just behind the lateral malleolus. Anteriorly it is attached to the back of the lateral malleolus, and posteriorly it is attached to the lateral surface of the calcaneum. Now relations: the tendons of both Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis lie deep to this retinaculum in a single compartment. The tendon of Peroneus longus lies superficial to the tendon of Peroneus brevis, and these tendons are enclosed in a common single synovial sheath. Now inferior peroneal retinaculum, it is a thickened fibrous band of deep fascia situated antero-inferior to the lateral malleolus. Superiorly it is attached to the anterior part of the superior surface of the calcaneum, and inferiorly it is attached to the lateral surface of the calcaneum. Now the tendons of Peroneus brevis pass through the superior loop of the retinaculum, and that of Peroneus longus passes through the inferior loop of the inferior retinaculum. Each tendon is enclosed in a separate synovial sheath, which are the prolongations of the common synovial sheath above. Now, peroneal muscles. So you can see superiorly the superior peroneal retinaculum, it splits into two parts. In the lower part, inferior peroneal reticulum. Superiorly the tendons are enclosed in a single synovial sheath, and inferiorly they are enclosed into separate synovial sheaths. Now muscles: Peroneus longus. The Peroneus longus arises from the upper 2/3 of the lateral surface of shaft of the fibula and the adjacent surface of head of tibia, and also from the anterior and posterior intermuscular septa of the leg. The muscle converges below to form a long tendon which lies superficial to the tendon of the Peroneus brevis and lodges itself along with the tendon of Peroneus brevis into a groove behind the lateral malleolus underneath the superior peroneal reticulum. After emerging from underneath this reticulum, the tendon of Peroneus longus passes downwards forwards through the inferior pulley of the inferior peroneal reticulum below the peroneal trochlea of the calcanea. On reaching the cuboid bone, the tendon longus changes its direction for the second time to pass through the osseofibrous tunnel on the plantar surface of the cuboid. This is the osseofibrous tunnel. It then crosses the sole of the foot obliquely from lateral to medial side to be inserted into the inferolateral surface of the base of the first metatarsal bone and adjacent part of the medial cuneiform. The Peroneus longus is supplied by the superficial peroneal nerve. It is the chief everter of the foot. It maintains the lateral longitudinal arch and also the transverse arch of the foot. Now, Peroneus brevis muscle. It is a fusiform bipinnate muscle and lies deep to the Peroneus longus. It arises from the lower 2/3 of lateral surface of shaft of the fibula and also from the anterior and posterior intermuscular septa. The muscle converges to form a tendon which passes behind the lateral malleolus underneath the superior peroneal retinaculum. It lies in front of the Peroneus longus in a common synovial sheath. Then it passes downwards and forwards above the peroneal trochlea of the calcaneum underneath the superior belly of inferior peroneal retinaculum. It is enclosed in a separate synovial sheath. It passes forwards and laterally to be inserted onto the tubercle on the lateral side of the base of the fifth metatarsal. It is also supplied by the superficial peroneal nerve. It is the everter of the foot and also maintains the lateral longitudinal arch of the foot. Now, superficial peroneal nerve. It is one of the terminal branches of the common peroneal nerve given at the neck of the fibula. It arises in the substance of the Peroneus longus on the lateral side of the neck of fibula. It begins on the lateral side of neck of fibula and descends for a short distance between the Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis, and then lies in a groove between the Peroneus brevis and the extensor digitorum longus. At the junction of the upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 of the leg, it pierces the deep fascia and soon divides into medial and lateral terminal branches which reach the dorsum of the foot. Now, branches, there it gives muscular branches to the Peroneus longus and Peroneus brevis. Cutaneous branches supply the skin of the lower 1/3 of the lateral side of the leg and the dorsum of the foot, except the territory is supplied by the saphenous, sural and deep peroneal nerves. Now, the medial side of the leg. Medial side of the leg consists of medial surface of the tibia. The greater part of the medial side of the leg is subcutaneous and provides attachment to tibial collateral ligament and tendons of the sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus. Now, saphenous nerve, it supplies the skin, fascia and periosteum on the surface. This is the saphenous nerve. Now, tibial collateral ligament, it represents the degenerated part of the tendon of hamstring part of adductor magnus. It partly covers the insertion of semimembranosus and is itself crossed superficially by the tendons of sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus. Now, tendons of these muscles, sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus, are inserted into the upper part of the medial surface of the tibia. Sartorius belongs to the anterior compartment of the thigh and is supplied by the femoral nerve. Gracilis is muscle of the medial compartment of the thigh and is supplied by the obturator nerve. and semitendinosus corresponds to the posterior compartment of the thigh and is supplied by the sciatic nerve. Now, what are gyropes? Gyropes, the lower end of sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus are attached together on the upper part of the medial surface of the tibia, but above they are attached wide apart from each other on the hip bones. Sartorius is attached to the ilium, gracilis on the pubis and semitendinosus on the ischium. The lower end of these muscles is attached at one point, but above they are separated. From this arrangement, it seems that these muscles act as guy ropes, which stabilize the bony pelvis on the femur. Now, bursa and serenus. Bursa and serenus is a large, complicated synovial bursa with several diverticula present on the upper part of the medial surface of the tibia. It not only separates the tendons of sartorius, gracilis and semitendinosus from each other near their insertion, but also it separates from the tibial collateral ligament. Now, great saphenous vein. This is the great saphenous vein. It ascends in front of the medial malleolus and crosses the lower 1/3 of the medial surface of the tibia obliquely with a backward inclination. The saphenous nerve runs downwards immediately in front of the great saphenous vein. Thank you very much.